This is Creepy and Geeky. Welcome to Creepy and Geeky. I'm your host, Robert, and on today's episode, Violet Hammond returns, this time with her daughter, Daisy, to talk about the Disney Plus MCU Special Presentation of Werewolf by Night. But first, Donna is back to talk about what we've been up to in the last week. How's it going, Donna?
Hey, Robert. It's going pretty good, other than, it's hot. Every time I come here,
Every
it's
time
going
you
to be
come on,
like,
you're just like,
it's
oh, it's so
freaking
hot.
hot. You know what it is? I think because I'm getting older, I must be going through like the change as
Yeah,
women go through,
right.
because I am hot all the fucking time. It's
Oh, yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
That
no,
was way more than any of your listeners needed to know, but I'm just straight up 100% honest. That's how I feel right
but it is
now.
hot. It is hot here in the South.
It
Thank
is.
Thankfully it's only 84 currently here right now where I'm at. But yeah, but it's been in the 90s this week, and we actually moved out a bunch of garbage that we'd accumulated from our garage.
Mhm.
So that was a whole thing.
Oh my God,
Um
dude, it is like right now, literally 89 here, and it
yeah,
feels like 97.
yeah, 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 it's pretty ridiculous.
I
The
could fry bacon outside.
Yeah.
It's so
You
hot
know,
out there.
the trade-off is that at least the winters are mild here. So that's what I like about it, is because I where I come from out west, the winters were a little bit more icy and snowy. So
I
I'm
guess.
a so I'll take it a little bit, even though for me, being a delivery driver, I am outside in the heat, but usually just in the evening. So it's by that point it's sort of settling down.
Look
So
at you.
that first hour or so is kind of but I'm mostly in my car anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm sure somewhere my ancestors are laughing at me like, we're tropical people, Donna. Why are you so hot? It's like, I'm spoiled with air conditioning.
Right? Oh my God. And this is the thing people don't understand too, is like when you when you're our age, you really appreciate just existing in air conditioning, because
I know that's right.
we lived a life, a childhood without air conditioning. You people do
Without,
not understand. Like, don't get me wrong, there are people who do understand that, because they don't have central air. People in England and stuff like that, they don't
right,
have
yeah.
central air everywhere. So when it gets hot in the summer, they have to do what we used to do: fans and open windows.
And air conditioning, if our parents afforded to buy
Oh
us more
man.
than one.
Oh yeah, like, and that's all they had was the box air conditioners,
The
like the
one.
ones you would put in your window and stuff. And I didn't have that as kids, because we just we just didn't. So we just had our windows open and our fans on. So it was not fun.
Yeah, at some
So
point my mom was like, fuck that. And like everybody had air conditioning in their bedroom because it
yeah.
was too hot.
Oh my
But
God.
but other than that, I am good. I'm really I'm a happy camper. I can't complain.
Good. That's always good to hear. Yeah. No, it's been generally okay. For me as well. Like I said, we cleaning out the garage, and that was a whole pain in the butt. We had to rent a U-Haul truck and literally filled up the entire U-Haul truck with garbage. And when I say
Dang.
garbage, it's not like garbage like trash. It's like, old things that we hadn't done. My grandson lives with us, and so
Mhm.
like he's 3 now, so we didn't need his high chair anymore, or the
Oh, okay.
stroller and stuff like that. So it was a lot of that kind of stuff. He had
Y'all
like
should
an
have had a
old
yard sale. Y'all could have made some bucks off of
it
that. Are
was
you kidding me?
it was all banged up and everything else. So sure we could have, but that would have been a whole nother best.
Then
Okay,
you would have been
let's
out in the heat selling stuff
yeah,
and
and
taking
listen,
stuff.
here's the other thing is we don't want people around our house. we are we
You
are a
got a
private
point.
we are a private people, and we don't care.
You
So
got a
yeah,
point. I
yeah.
didn't think that through because I too do not like people at all, as I protest on this show many times. I did see a funny post though where this guy said if you have a lot of stuff that you don't want and you don't feel like getting a U-Haul or hauling it out to the trash,
Yeah.
take it to a storage place, pay for 1 month's rent, and then never pay it again because all
That's
they're gonna do is auction off your shit. And the bonus is you can go and watch somebody buy your trash.
that's so funny. I'm gonna have to remember that. That would
Yeah, me
probably
too. I was just thinking about
it,
that. I was like, can we
yeah, but
do
still
that?
you
Yeah,
have to
we can do
move the
that.
stuff to the storage
I don't
unit, so
care.
you would
It's
still need
worth
the
it.
truck to move the stuff to
It's
the
worth
storage unit.
it.
But yeah, no. And then we had a bunch of like it was the most random stuff. We had a bunch of stuff because we had a bunch of old couches and chairs here in the house
Hmm.
that we were getting. They were all busted and broken and everything. So we finally bought new couches. Um and we got rid of all the old stuff.
Right.
And so that was what it was like furniture, baby stuff, some big branches and stuff like from when we cut down some of our bushes and everything. So it was a bunch of random things, um but yeah, it wasn't too bad. It was just one afternoon of throwing
Hmm.
everything into the truck and then the next morning taking it to the dump and dumping it out of the truck.
See, this is how
So
I know I could not be your neighbor or live close to you because as soon as you did that, I would just go into a horror movie quote and I go, "This house is clean." I'd have to like Zelda.
that's okay. We have a local busybody who likes to know everybody's business I know this because she's come up to me and told me other people's business that I don't care about.
Oh my
Um
gosh.
yes, I'm like, dude, seriously, I don't have 15 minutes to talk to you
And if
about
she's
somebody
talking to
else I don't
you
care.
about somebody
Oh, I
else's
know
shit,
she's
she's
oh, I
definitely
know
talking
she's
about
talk
y'all.
Oh, I know. And the funny thing is we barely ever talk to her, barely ever see her because we try to keep inside all the time. It's so it's funny too because when we were packing up all the trash, um, the I didn't see it. I heard about it afterward, but she apparently did come over and go, "Oh, are you guys moving?" And it was like they were like, "No, sorry, we're still here for a
Nosy
while."
old biddy.
I
Oh my
know.
God.
So, I mean, we've been here 3 years and we just signed another 2-year lease. So,
Oh,
sorry, lady.
nice.
Sorry, lady. We're here for at least 2 more years.
You got to put up with us for at least 2 more years, lady. Suck on that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, it was okay. It was just busy and
Yeah.
a lot of work. And I'm an old man and I couldn't do a whole lot because my back was screaming at me and I was like, okay, sorry, kids, in your 20s, you guys are gonna all have to do the work, which was
Yeah, they
fine
got to
because
do the
they're all
heavy
strong.
stuff.
Yeah, they're all young and strong and have strong backs, so I let them do all that.
Yeah, that was wise. Definitely let the younger people do
Right.
it. But anyhow,
But yes.
so once again, I'm always like a meager sister when I come in here, but I have only two tidbits to share with you.
All
So,
right.
do you want me to start?
Um, Let me go ahead and start with one of mine because I've got three today. So,
Woohoo.
so I did go out, this week, and I saw two movies on Thursday night, with my daughter, as we usually do, and
Hmm.
uh, we went and saw Kinds of Kindness, the new Yorgos Lanthimos movie, and it was great. Um, it was bizarre and weird. Now, see, here's the thing. I've only ever seen Poor Things of his movies. I've never
Okay.
seen any of his other movies yet. Um, so, but after Poor Things, I was like, okay, this is my brand of weird. I can get with this.
Right.
And so when I saw the trailers for Kinds of Kindness, it doesn't really tell you a whole lot. But you can kind of tell there's enough weirdness in there. I was like, okay, I was already in because I liked Poor Things so much.
Hmm.
And so I was like, okay, I'm in for this. And so we went and saw it, and it's 2 hours and 44 minutes. It's like an anthology of sorts. It's three stories, all with the same actors playing different roles in each story. So it's bizarre in that way. But it's Jesse Plemons, Emma Stone, Willem Dafoe, um, Margaret Qualley, um, a couple other people I'm blanking on right now, but those are um, four of the main.
It
And
looks interesting.
it's
I'm glad that
very
you said it
interesting.
was
It's
good.
a lot of fun. It's very funny. It's bizarre as all hell. Um, but it works for me. It's my kind of weird. So
Well, then I know I'll like it. If it worked for you, it's because I've seen all of his works. I was
yeah,
a fan ever since Dogtooth, and
yeah,
it took me a while to get to the Lobster, and it took me a while to get to the Favorite. I really like those a lot.
yeah.
But if you like that, you should definitely dive into his other films. But I would start with Dogtooth and then work your way out because you can see the progression as it
Right.
goes.
So that's
Um,
actually my plan is I found out that his three earliest Greek movies, Canetta, Dogtooth, and the Alps, or just Alps, are all on the Kino collection
mhm.
um, app or whatever it is. So I found out that there's a free 7 day trial. So I'm going to jump on that free 7 day
Oh,
trial this week.
nice.
Yeah. And so that way I can watch those three movies. And then The Lobster and Killing of a Sacred Deer are both on Max right now. Also, the only one I can't watch anywhere without paying for a rental is The Favorite. So I may go ahead and bite the bullet on that because I do want to. I think that's what I'm going to do this week. This week is going to be a Yorgos Lanthimos week because I
Yeah, I
really want
really
to
want to know what
dive
you
into
think
his
of.
stuff. Yeah,
I'm interested to hear what you think of all of them, but I really want to know what
yeah.
you think of Killing of a Sacred Deer because I think that was the movie that when I saw Barry Keoghan, I was like, okay, this kid is definitely going to be a breakout just from
So
this.
here's my thing. Anything I've ever seen Barry Keoghan in, or Kogan, whatever, I've never really vibed with him as an actor. So, he's one of those actors that just, I don't know. I just haven't, and maybe this will change my mind about it. But, yeah, I just, so far, he's one of those actors I'm just like, eh. He's like a Joaquin Phoenix or a Kristen Stewart, where I'm just like, I won't jump to go see their movies. I'll
I mean, then
eventually,
that's fine.
yeah, yeah. No, no. And that's the thing. Like everybody's got people they don't really care to see their movies for. But occasionally there'll be a movie here or there that, will vibe with me. But I'm interested because it does look like a it whereas every other movie of his looks like some kind of bizarro comedy thing going on.
Hmm.
Killing of a Sacred Deer looks like a thriller that doesn't seem to have any real bizarre comedy to it. Looks
It's
bizarre,
It's
but
bizarre, yeah,
yeah,
and it's dark. For the longest, because I'd seen Colin Farrell in The Lobster and then in Killing the Sacred Deer, I thought that he was going to be in a lot of his other films too, but
right.
he was only in those two, and now Emma Stone seems to be his
Yeah.
muse.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'm fine with that. I
Oh
love when they
no,
work together.
oh yeah, no, she's doing fantastic work with him. Like I think, and that's the funny thing too, is that I've always loved Emma Stone's work. I think she's one of those actresses that just is just fantastic in anything she's done. And it's cool to see her now at this stage meet a director who she can vibe with
Hmm.
and be like, you know what, I'm gonna make the weirdest, edgiest work I've ever done, and I'm gonna have so much fun with it. And I love that. I love them when like, you know, actors and directors like that can find each other
Right,
and make some cool stuff. Because I mean that's the thing. I think that's Burton and Depp. They did the same thing. They've gotten to a point where they got a little too like wrapped up in their like
right.
stuff. And I think there is a point where that happens with any director actor combo. Sometimes you need to take a step back and go, okay, let's take a break for a little bit and then we'll come back to it.
Regroup, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I think that's what's great. I mean, you see it with Tarantino and Kevin Smith and other people who I like. They always have Christopher Nolan. They always use the same actors. Martin
Hmm.
Scorsese, you know, he's he's either going to use Robert De Niro or Leonardo DiCaprio.
Right.
So yeah, or both sometimes.
My
So it's
son made the joke that Leo is the Robert De Niro replacement. As Robert De
yeah,
Niro got older, he just
yeah,
swooped in and got. But
absolutely.
yeah, I'm glad that it was good. I
Oh
cannot
yeah,
wait to
it's
see it.
fantastic.
I'm excited.
Yeah, yeah, that's the thing. So like for anybody who's into Lanthimos's stuff, I think you'll like this as well. Um Anybody who's not, um you might still like it, but it's weird. It's bizarre and weird. And uncomfortable. And that's the funny thing. It's like that weird uncomfortable, but in the most like hilarious ways if you like that kind of stuff. So But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm sold. You already sold me.
All right. So what was your first thing?
Oh, so I don't know if I don't think you and I have talked about this. The Nosferatu trailer dropped.
Oh yeah, we have not talked about it
I
yet.
don't believe we talked about that at all, which is
No.
weird for us. We usually
Yeah. I think you know what? I think you mentioned it the other day, but
Mhm.
I think I was busy and didn't get a chance to really respond to it. So
Yeah. So had you had the chance to watch the
I
trailer?
did. I watched it. I watched it the other day, but I will admit I only watched it the one time, and I didn't get a chance to really kind of like dive into it. Normally, I try to watch a trailer like two or three times to just kind of get a sense of it.
Right.
So, but I only watched it the one time so far. But it looks interesting. I'm sold with Robert Eggers. I'll give anything he does a chance. Like I'll admit that the Lighthouse didn't really super work for me.
Oh yeah,
Um,
we had that discussion.
yeah,
Didn't
but
really work for me either, but I do love the style of it.
no, I do too. I love that he went for it, and I love that that Willem Dafoe and uh Robert Pattinson, went for it, which is great. But I love The Witch, and I thought The Northman was like epic and awesome as all get out. So I will admit, I was more excited when this was supposed to be an Anya Taylor-Joy movie
I
and
know. I
not
was
a
gonna
Lily
bring
Rose
that
Depp.
up.
So, because I don't know that Lily Rose Depp has the depth for this yet, but I'm hopeful. So, but Skarsgård is as Orlok, and Nicholas Holt being in it, and of course Willem Dafoe being in it
Yep.
because he's been in every one of his movies except for The Witch. Um, so I'm excited. I'm eager to see it for sure.
He has a great way of bringing things out of people, though. This might be the
Yeah,
role for her, just because not only does she look like she's from that period, but
right.
he may be able to get that part of her that we haven't seen yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's
So
I am hopeful for that for
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Plus, Aaron Taylor Johnson's in it too. Let's not leave him out.
Oh,
He's
that's
in it.
true. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little
Yeah.
excited. That's all I can say. I'm
Yeah.
not excited to go see it though. I mean, I am going to go on Christmas Day. I know that's going to be what we're doing, but I'm fearful because there's already allegedly a rat scene, and I'm just like
Ew,
terrified.
yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, Dracula's
Of
always been kind of
course.
associated with rats here and there. So,
Yeah, I would much rather bats at this point. I don't want to
right.
see rats on the screen. And I told my husband and my son, I was like, okay, so when we go, please know if you see me over there covering my mouth, I'm doing my best not to scream in a theater full of people because
Oh,
it
man.
terrifies me to no end.
That
So,
scene in Bram Stoker's Dracula must have
oh
gotten you bad.
my God.
He just turned into a whole bunch of
A
rats.
whole pile of them. And then it just dropped. And I
Oh,
just, my face went,
so effective. I love it.
oh my dude, I'm just thinking about it now. It's making my skin crawl. However, because it is Eggers, I am definitely going. I'm definitely
Yes.
purchasing the ticket and I'm definitely going. I just don't know
Yeah.
how I'm gonna do my best not to shriek in the theater. Maybe somebody else will scream and I'll be able to scream.
Yeah, right.
So that was my first thing. That
All
was it.
right.
Just the trailer dropped. It looks beautiful. Everything
Yeah.
looks amazing and gothic. And
No.
of course, we didn't get the reveal of Orlok. So I
Yeah.
when that happens, I'm sure everybody's gonna be like, "Holy crap!"
Yeah. I love the sequence where you see his like the shadow of his hand go over the city and everything like that. That's
Oh, I
cool.
love that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very cool. But yeah, no, I'm excited to see it. I know the guys over at Vampire Videos are probably champing at the bit to talk about it as well. So, yeah, no, that'll be very cool. All right. So my second movie on Thursday night was A Quiet Place Day One.
Oh,
Um, yeah, that is the not necessarily prequel, but sort of, I guess, a prequel. So for me, what it is, and I know there's a lot of concern that I saw a video on YouTube about this, was that they were like, why do we need another movie, kind of set
mhm.
in the past and like exploring what happened on that first day, because we already kind of saw it from the perspective of the other family. from the first two movies. And I was like, yeah, I get that. But this movie doesn't really do any of that. Like it does show you that stuff. It shows the like when they land there in New York City and
Hmm.
everything like that. But the story isn't telling about that. You're not getting a lot of information about the aliens or about the um you're getting some of the stuff, but it's stuff you already know about them. So there's nothing really new. Um, at least not that I noticed anyway. More of it is that you're getting the story of Lupita Nyong'o's character, and what she's dealing with on that day or the couple of days surrounding it. So and her journey through this movie. And it's really, really good. It's really fantastic. She does such a good job in this movie, as she does in every movie.
Every movie.
She's just a fantastic actress. And it was surprising too, because I was um, rewatching uh, Black Panther Wakanda Forever for an upcoming
Hmm.
episode with you. And and I was like, oh yeah, okay, she's in this too. And I had forgotten that. And and it just I was like, okay, well, what all movies has she been in? I figured her her filmography was pretty deep, and it's not.
It's not.
I was actually really surprised. I've seen literally almost every movie she's done since like Force Awakens. Um so because she has done mostly, and interestingly enough, she's done mostly genre work.
Hmm.
She mostly does horror, sci-fi, action kind of stuff because she was in the movie The 355, which I haven't seen, but my daughter did, and she said it was good. Um, and so I find that fascinating. Now she's done like documentary work and stuff on the side where she does documentary TV shows and stuff where she does narration and stuff, which she's won awards for, which is fantastic. Um, but I love that her film work has mostly been in genre. So uh which is very cool. I just I I think she's such a great actress and could be doing so many other things. I know she's done stage work. She took off some
Right.
time to do some stage work, and she actually like turned down movie roles for a little bit while she was doing a couple of plays. And so it's just I'm so glad when she does do movies. Because when she does, she's just super fantastic
She's
at it.
fantastic
Yeah.
every time. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter what it is. She's always fantastic. I didn't see 355 either, and I heard it was really good. I need to go
Yeah.
watch that.
Me too. Yeah. Um, I'll admit I haven't seen anything of her work outside of the genre stuff. I've seen everything she's done, the two Black Panther movies, all the Star Wars movies that she did, and Us, obviously. Um,
Have you seen Little Monsters?
I did. Yeah, I love her in
That's
that.
so
She's so
cute.
funny. Yeah. It's such a good movie. Go check that out, everybody. It's on Hulu. It's a Hulu thing. But it's hilarious. She's so good in that. It's a horror comedy. Um, but it's yeah, no, this movie's really good. It just kind of tells the story of her and what she's going through during the course of this thing. There's great performances by Joseph Quinn, who everybody knows as Eddie Munson from Stranger Things
Stranger
season
Things.
4. And he's fantastic in this. There is Alex Wolf from Hereditary. He's in this as well. Um, I think those are the major people. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. She's got a cat the whole time who just like you're just like, what in the hell are you doing, cat? Um
I heard that she had to overcome a fear of cats. Like
did she? Oh my God, I
yeah,
didn't
she
hear
had
that.
like a fear of cats. She had to like go to a therapist so she could be with this cat in the movie.
Oh wow. Well, you couldn't tell on screen. So that's great. No, it's just it was a really good movie. I think it really adds to. I think that's what's great about what you could do with A Quiet Place. I think it's one of those things that they could that sure they can continue the story, and I think there is a part 3 coming that continues the original story, but you can tell
Hmm.
these side stories of what about what this is like for individual people. And so I think that's really cool.
I think that's what keeps it a fresh franchise. I mean, I'm sure that
Yeah.
they didn't have any idea that it was going to turn into this, but I like seeing it from the different perspectives and the different locations just because,
Yeah.
we focus so much on the family in the first two, which is great, but the whole world is affected by this. So, we've had this talk before. Same thing with
Yeah.
Predator movies and
Yeah.
Hellraiser, you just expand on what's going on.
Right.
So I cannot wait to see this one just because I want to see her and
She's
I
so good. Yeah.
and
I
it
just
doesn't
like,
hurt that she's gorgeous too.
yes. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
astonishes me, and I'm just going to throw this out there, not that anybody cares, but what astonishes me now is that she's in a relationship with Joshua Jackson. And I'm like, how did that even happen?
Right. Number one,
Like,
right. But also, I
dude,
heard that relationship was already over and she was with
are you
somebody
kidding
else.
me?
Yeah, I know. I didn't like, I don't know how accurate it is. I heard you, but I think I'm not positive, but it was just like, she was like, it looked like she was with somebody else, but maybe she wasn't. Maybe she was, I don't know. Maybe they're just friends. I don't know. But she was definitely canoodling with Joshua Jackson, walking on the
I
beach and
just want to
everything
know
like
what
that.
his game is. You know what
Right?
I mean? Because
Because
he
apparently
was
he's had some like good girlfriends throughout the years, so he must have some good game.
something
So
is going on.
it's just
It's
it's
disturbing.
his innate paciness, I guess.
Don't even start me. I had the biggest crush on Pacey. I told my husband that when I first heard that he was dating with Peter. I was like, you mean to tell me I had a chance? I had a chance with Pacey. He died.
That's
But
too funny.
yeah, but I'm so once again, I love when you go to these films and you let me know how good they are. I mean, I know they're
Yes.
going to be good, but I love getting the opinion just so I
Yeah.
can be excited and psyched up even more.
Yeah. Well, and it helps that you and I have similar tastes, so it makes sense that like if I like something, you're probably likely to like it as well. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, so this next week I will be going to go see an early screening on Wednesday of the new movie Maxine.
Oh my gosh.
I'm This is the one I've been waiting for the most. And it's so funny too because like I think I downplayed it like a little bit ago when I was talking to you about it too. It was like, I don't
Yeah,
know
when
if
we
I
were
went
talking
and
about the
saw.
trailer.
Yeah, well, not yeah, and I was like, I don't know if I went and saw these right away. And I literally like looked back and I had seen um X on its first day and I'd seen Pearl on opening weekend. So I was just like, obviously I was more hyped for these than I thought I was in retrospect. So but it makes sense. So because I'm super hyped for Maxine. So
Right.
yeah, it's definitely going to be a lot of fun because I'm this one I I I have a feeling this one's going to be my favorite of the trilogy just
I think
for
it
a
is
number
too.
of reasons. Yeah.
I think it's gonna
So,
knock the other two out of the water. I'm so
God,
excited with
yeah.
the Jalo esque things,
Yes.
and then we
Oh my
have
God.
the Ramirez. I don't know. Just you got to tell me how it is.
Yes. Oh
No
yeah, for
spoilers,
sure.
of course,
No,
but
no, no spoilers. I never do spoilers. You know that. Yeah, no. So it's definitely um I'm definitely hyped for it. I'm excited. I was glad too because normally we go on Thursday nights, but they weren't for some weird reason. The theater didn't have a Thursday night showing of it, so I was like, oh well, I'm gonna have to go Friday. And then I was looking on Fridays, and I work on Fridays, and so I was like, well, I'm gonna have to go early. And so the earliest, um, the the one I could possibly do was 11:30, and I was like, man, I'm like it's summertime, so I don't get up early.
right.
I'm usually up by noon, so um, so I was like, man, 11:30, that means I got to get up early. It's like a 45-minute drive. So I was like, I got to get up like early to go do this. And I was like, I guess I'll do it. But then I was like, okay, let me look on Wednesday, see if there's anything. And there was like I think just one showing an early access one showing of it and nobody had taken the seats I like because I'm one of those people who likes to have middle in the back row. And I know everybody's like, well, that's not the optimal thing for best sound and but picture, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I don't like people sitting behind me.
I don't like people
So
sitting behind me either.
yeah. So I sit in the back row. I like to
Yeah.
sit in the middle so people don't pass me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, everybody's got to fill in beside me. There should be nobody passing in front of me. So although that doesn't always work, there's somebody who's got to go down one side or the other and always has to
And
get in
they
my way.
always cross in front of
Yeah.
you.
Like whatever, fine. But but I like that middle back row. So but I was so glad that nobody had taken those seats yet. So I was like, oh, I'm getting these now. So I made sure I got them. I'm set. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear about that.
So what's your second thing?
So my second thing is well, I just keep bringing trailers. So
Well, that's good though. Yeah.
Yeah, so A24 dropped a Heretic trailer,
Oh yes.
and that looks
It
fantastic.
looks so good. I'm so glad that Hugh Grant is like he was doing the comedy slash romantic comedy thing for a long
Hmm.
time, which I love. Don't get me wrong. I love him playing, the
The
British
stammering,
cad.
charming British guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was great. But I love that he's like doing stuff now where he's been in some of the Guy Ritchie movies, which I haven't seen any of the ones that he's been in yet. But I love that he's like playing like bad guys now. And now and then this one, oh man, this one he looks evil as hell, and
It
I'm
looks so
so in
ominous
for it.
and dark, and I am there for every minute of it
Yes.
because, no offense, I mean, if you come knocking on my door as a Jehovah Witness or a Mormon, I'm gonna fuck with you a little bit. Be honest, I am gonna fuck with you a little bit, but it's very creepy just, to think of this man.
Mm,
If you saw the
using
trailer,
their
right?
using their religion against them.
Yeah, and the fact that he's telling them during the trailer, I got to take this pie out the oven, and then the girl notices there's a
The,
blueberry pie candle, and
yeah.
I was like, dude, I'd be
Ah,
booking it out that door so fast. And I think
so
they
good.
tried and couldn't in this
Yeah.
trailer, but
It was already
if
locked.
you,
Yeah.
yeah, so if you guys don't know, the premise is basically these two women, they're Mormon missionaries, and they go to Hugh Grant's house to talk to him about their religion, and they're trying to convert him, and then they realize that they're actually in a probably mousetrap situation.
Yeah.
He's just very menacing and threatening in this trailer,
So
and
good.
and just very calm about it too. I think that's what's unnerving about it is that
Right.
he's not dressed up with a mask and a knife. He's basically turning them
Oh, he looks
against
like
their own
charming Hugh
religion.
Grant.
He is, and it's scary. It's like goosebump scary.
I love it. I love that he's using that, like, hey, this is who I am. This is how I've always been in my movies, but now I'm going to use it for evil.
Yeah. This is like such a delicious thing to watch.
Oh,
So if
it's
you
so
guys haven't
cool.
seen this trailer, please go do
Yes,
so.
go watch it. It's called The Heretic. Yes, it looks really cool. Yeah, I'm excited for that one. That was really cool. And one of the girls is played by Sophie Thatcher too from Yellow
From Yellow
Jackets.
Jackets,
She's
yeah.
so good. Yeah. She was also in The Boogeyman. So
I don't know if I've watched that one. Oh, yes.
yeah, it's
I
good.
think
It's
about it.
okay. It's not the best, but it's pretty good. So so my last thing today is Humble Bundle put out a new comic book bundle for Cerebus, which is a I think it started in the 70s, maybe early 80s. It's a independent comic book. It was always independent. Dave Sim is the guy who created it, and it's one of those foundational independent comic books that people talked about. If you know comic books, you've heard of Cerebus. Well, okay, if you read comic books in the 80s, you've heard of Cerebus. You might not know about it these days. And if you do know about it, you probably just know because Dave Sim is not a great person anymore. Maybe he never was. But so I did pick it up. I, you know, full disclosure, I didn't know he was a possibly terrible person when I bought it. Otherwise, I would have
Mm,
made sure to um like adjust the stuff, because you can adjust how much of your money goes to charity or whatnot or
right.
whatever, and you can make all your money go to the charity. So I didn't realize that, and that's what I would have done anyway. But um but people said online that while he might not be the best person, that the first few storylines are pretty good, and they don't delve into how he became terrible later.
Oh, wow.
Apparently he just got kind of anti-feminist later on, and so that was part of it. Anti-woman. I was like, oh, okay, that's not great. So if you are interested, it is available. It's only $18 for the full bundle. And you can adjust where your money goes to on
Right.
that. But so I picked it up just because I was like, oh, okay, this is one of those things I've never had a chance to read because I never picked
Hmm.
up any of the comic books. But it was one of those things I was always interested in because people talked about it being one of those foundational independent things that influenced a lot of stuff like Bone, and other later comic book creators.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Um,
you definitely can tell that that Bone was inspired by that just
yeah,
from the style of it.
yeah. So, and what's interesting is Cerebus started out as a parody of like sword and sorcery stuff
Hmm.
um like Conan the Barbarian, but it eventually morphed pretty quickly into um uh a comic book about politics and religion, and as the creator himself just kind of went through his own
Hmm.
philosophies and stuff like that. And I think just as he went along, his philosophy got bitter or something. And so that changed it.
Mm.
People did say that, it's still overall a good story to read. Just, bear in mind that the creator himself isn't the best. And so that informs some of it as it went along. So, so, yeah, but it's one of those things that just, foundational. He did it for 300 issues. It's the kind of the benchmark that independent comic book creators are still trying to meet that 300 issue mark. Um, when Spawn recently hit 300 a couple of years
Hmm.
ago, they made a big deal about it because Cerebus was the benchmark, and so anybody who passes that 300 mark as a creator, and arguably, like Spawn did it, but it was like, but like so Cerebus was written and drawn by the same person every issue.
Right.
Whereas with Spawn, Todd McFarlane hasn't drawn it since, like, he's done little bits and pieces here and there, but hasn't done it regularly since like issue 15. And so, and you could argue about how much he writes in every issue, but like something like Savage Dragon, which is another comic book from Image, that it's like in the 260s right now. Um, and so he's getting close to that 300 mark himself, and he's written and drawn every issue. So something like that, where there are people who are out there who are trying to meet that mark as
Hmm.
well and go past it. So it's interesting though. So, but yeah, if you want to check it out, it's available on Humble Bundle now. Um, just like I said, bear in mind, look up the information about him. I haven't done a deep dive into it, but I've just seen what other people have said about it. So, written articles about it, and so I'm like,
Oh,
I
that's
have to read a little
unfortunate.
bit more. Yeah, so I mean, that's why I'm saying buyer beware. Just know going into it, if you're interested in it, check it out. Make your decision based on that. And again, I bought it without any knowledge, and I'm just passing it on to everybody else.
Right.
So if you are interested, definitely. I mean, because that's the thing. Like, I don't necessarily think, as long as we can kind of adjust how the money goes to, and it's not totally going to him, that's
Right.
fine. Then I'm not giving him any extra money in that. But you know, it's like the whole J.K. Rowling thing. Like, I'm never going to give money to her in any way, shape, or form
Right.
again if I can help it. And I don't consume any of this stuff, but like, I still have the Harry Potter movies, and I still look fondly on those. I haven't watched them in a long time, but that doesn't mean I won't ever watch them again,
Right.
because there were more people involved in that than just her.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and that was one of those foundational things for our family as well. So it's kind of one of those things where
Same.
it's kind of like, yeah, it's so tainted now, and it sucks.
I just
But
like to remember those movies and those books and that time where my kids were still little and they still
yeah,
believed in all of the magic and stuff. So I look at it from that perspective.
right,
But yeah,
exactly.
it
And
is
it meant
terrible.
so, and that's what's frustrating too, is like, the Harry Potter franchise meant so much to so many people, and to
Yeah,
watch her just burn it all to the ground is just like, it's just amazing to me. That
yeah.
just how you do that is just crazy. So, but anyway, I'll get off my soapbox about that.
It's okay. I get on my soapbox all the time. I'm only 4'11". I have to get on the soapbox.
Right, right. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that it's because it is one of those foundational independent comic books. I felt it was at least worth it to check out some of it, especially after I read the stuff I read.
Right.
Um, And so it's just I just wanted to pass it along and inform people as best as possible. So
Mm.
anyway, but yeah, but that's all I have for this week. That's all I brought. Um, did you have anything else, or do you want to jump into what you got going on this week on your podcast?
I didn't have anything else. I literally brought those two things, and
Okay.
then we always find a way to talk longer when we have
Always,
less stuff.
always.
So yeah, I'll go ahead and
Tangents are the best.
it is. Oh my gosh, I run into so many tangents. So about to do that now. So
Right.
yeah, so for this month, I decided on my podcast I was going to do the theme of Summerween because it's summer and
Ah,
I'm ready for Halloween. But
right.
it's really just going to be a hodgepodge, you guys, of what I know best about summer, like road trips, going on vacation, the movies that have those elements of summer
Yeah.
in them. So I'm going to start with one that you already talked about, which is The Cabin in the Woods. So
Okay. Yeah.
that's going to be my first one, and
Awesome.
then it'll just be whatever. But I do need to make a special little tidbit there. I got to put a
All
little
right.
dot there. I forgot during my whole month of mayhem that when I did my mayhem episode, that was my 100th episode. So
Oh.
so when I do the Cabin in the Woods, this will be Donna's 105th episode, and I will be talking about that because I completely forgot. My husband was like, "Aren't you at 100 already?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, I already did my 100th episode." So along with that, I'll be talking about how I made it to 105 episodes, just
Yay.
talking to you guys and the ether out there. Um, but it's been a lot of fun, so looking
Yeah.
forward to that.
I don't know how you do it. I can't. I like. I'm gonna. My plan is to do a podcast where it's just myself.
Uh-huh.
And I'm be talking about comic books, but I have so much fun talking to other people that I just can't imagine doing it on my own. It's
I
like
have fun
it's
being a
daunting.
dork
Yeah.
because I'm an only child and most of my childhood was spent with
Yeah.
myself. So
I
it
get that.
doesn't bother me. But then a lot of times when I am talking, I kind of focus on one person that I would have this conversation with, and then it just becomes into my ramblings. So you guys should be used to it by now. But I like to come in, I give a little advice, I talk about the movie, and then I fucking bail. That's all I
But it's always fun. I enjoy listening to your episodes. I am, as always, a couple of weeks behind. That's usually what happens is I'll listen to a couple, then let a couple stack up, and then I'll listen to those, and then let a couple stack up. So it's weird. I don't know what it is. So
It's okay. I listen to you on my treadmill, so I'm always trying to play catch up on my treadmill. That helps
literally,
me walk longer. If I
yeah.
listen, and I'm like, okay, I gotta get to
Uh,
the end of this, so I
oh
gotta
wow!
walk.
Don't listen to mine. Then that's like 2 hours each episode.
Well, I do like segments, Robert. I gotta do something to keep this weight off. I mean, and you guys have such fun conversations, so I totally dig that. I understand what you're saying, and
Yeah,
it's just for me because I am an only child, and I do like to be that mom friend. I just kind of go on and on about whatever the fuck is in my head
yeah.
at the time. So,
I love it.
but yeah, that's it. 105 episodes. I can't believe I made it this
That's
far, and
awesome.
I didn't quit.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. We started
Yeah.
ours around the same time, so
We
it's
did.
weird.
Yeah, I think the only reason why I'm ahead is because I was doing 2 episodes a week there for a little bit. Plus, and you weren't doing weekly
I was doing
episodes
every
either.
other week, and
So
now I'm
yeah,
doing weekly.
yeah, trying to catch up now because I'm at
Oh my
140 now. This is my
jeez.
140th. Yeah, I think 140 or 141. I don't even know now. Yeah, I'm saying 140. No, it's 141. This is episode
Oh,
141. So yeah,
dang, good on you, man. And then now you
yeah,
got the YouTube and you're doing
yeah.
other podcasts, and you and I might do one at some point. Oh
I
my
know.
God.
Yeah, we
Is
gotta
the world ready for that?
talk
I
about
don't think they're ready
that.
for that.
I know. I'm ready for it. I've been ready for it for a while. I would just make you a permanent co-host on here, but you don't got the time for that. So
Hell no. I barely have time to do mine. Oh my gosh. Well, this has been
too funny.
fun. We'll meet up again.
Always fun with talking to you, Donna. So yeah, we are going to be talking again very soon. Obviously, every week Donna is back here, but in 2 weeks' time, she will be back. we'll be talking about Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
Woohoo.
So, but yeah, and but until then, make sure you stay creepy. On today's episode, we are talking about the first Marvel Studios special presentation, Werewolf by Night. Joining me for this is returning guest Violet Hammond and her daughter Daisy. Violet is the managing director of a theater in New York. She's also been a guest on several other podcasts, including Frame to Frame, Movieversaries, Den of 10, and more. Daisy is a young actress who has also been on the podcast Movieversaries. Welcome to the show, Violet and Daisy.
Hello. Thanks for having me back. So
Yeah,
excited.
Yeah, always good to have you on, and you brought your daughter Daisy to finally come on the show. We've talked about it a couple times. So
Yeah.
Hi.
hi.
We're here. We're ready. We're excited.
Yeah. Yeah, I know we talked about doing Werewolf by Night. You and I did. And you were like, "Oh, my daughter really loves that." So I was like, "Okay, well, let's get her on." So I did try, Daisy, I did try to get you on my show before you got on anybody else's show, but Movieversaries got you first.
Yeah.
But that makes sense, you know.
Well, Bo saw an opportunity there with Mean Girls, so
Yes, yeah, of course.
had to happen. She was
Right.
in Mean Girls, the show. Mean Girls, the movie, was having a big anniversary. It was written in the stars.
Right.
Truly was. Truly.
But no, it's good to have you on. It's good to have you both on and to talk about an exciting part of the MCU, their first special presentation that came out on Disney Plus. The first time it came out, it was in black and white, which was a neat little thing. And then the next year, they brought it out in color. So, full disclosure, when I rewatched it last night to prep for today's episode, I rewatched it in color. So, because I actually like the color version better.
Really?
So, yeah.
I don't know if I've ever watched the color one. I'm going to be honest. I
don't
always
think
watch.
I have.
No, I think
It's
we
so
always
funny
watch the black and white.
It's so funny too, because when I was looking for it last night, I was going through the I went over to the Marvel tab and was going through the multiverse saga tab, and you're going through it and it just has the black and white version. I was like, and I was looking through all the Marvel stuff and I could not find the color version. I actually had to search for Werewolf by Night to find the in color version. And yeah, that was a little weird. I was like, well, they're I mean, it's there, but they're not really hyping it as much as they're doing the black and white, which is fine. You know, obviously that's the version they think is best and they want people to watch. So
they're ashamed of it. They hide it.
I guess. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No,
But,
it popped up. It popped
yeah.
up when we searched Werewolf by Night.
Yeah.
It was
It's
black
like-
and white first and then color. And
Yeah.
It's like a secret menu option.
Right. That's too funny. But yeah, no, so it was just like, okay, well, I'll watch it. I don't know. I like it. Black and white is fine, and I get why they did that. But I don't know. I kind of like the lurid colors of the color version, you know, because it's not because it's like they oversaturated it in certain ways, so that way it would just really pop out. So
well, it's kind of like I haven't watched it, but I've seen stills, so I know it's kind of like we've talked about this so many times. How many things are an homage to Hammer horror? It's like that 70s Hammer horror, like really, as you said, oversaturated color.
Yeah, and that's what they did it for. Was like they were going from what the original version with the black and white was more of a Universal Monsters era type stuff. Then adding in that color, they went for that Hammer horror era stuff. So but yeah, no, so that's why I liked it. I was just like, you know, I like Hammer horror stuff, but I like Universal horror stuff, but I like the Hammer horror, like at least the looks of it a little bit more. So
remember that crazy Dracula movie that I showed you where the people were all weird and they were running in the darkness, but it was very clearly like the sunshine, but they had, remember that, Daisy? That's Hammer Horror.
Yeah.
You're looking at me like I have no idea what you're talking about.
I was thinking of
She had the most
Love
blank
Witch.
face
I
ever.
know.
Right now, she's like, what?
Where we were just laughing because it was absurd. That's Hammer Horror.
Yeah.
The Christopher Lee Dracula.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
I do remember that. Oh my god, you're right.
Yes. Yes. The Christopher Lee Dracula.
I was thinking of The Love Witch. I don't know if you guys have ever
Oh.
seen that. No, it was like, I think it came out in like 2016, but it was
Yeah.
like purposefully filmed to look like
Yeah.
a 70s horror movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Then yeah, exactly. That's exactly the aesthetic. Yep.
Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, no, I I enjoyed the episode, whatever, the special, in whichever way we get to watch it, but yeah, I was just like, I really like it in the color version, so that's what I'm gonna do personally. So
Cool.
but but yeah, no, it originally came out in black and white, which was great. Directed and scored by Michael Giacchino.
Yep. The MVP.
Who is the one who does does the Marvel Studios music now, has done several movies for them, and has done a lot of movies. It was the music guy behind the TV series Lost as well. So he's worked with J.J. Abrams a lot as well. But,
yeah.
But he did great. It's a really fantastically directed special, and just, I don't know, it's a lot of fun. What's his name? Let's see, I'm completely blanking on the actor's name. Gael Garcia Bernal.
Yep.
Yes. He's great as Jack Russell.
So good.
Love him.
Yeah, no, he's
I'm always so happy to see him and stuff.
Yeah, no, he's really good as the character. He's just, I don't know. It's an interesting show. Like I'm hoping that they do more of it. I think it was popular enough that they might do more, but we'll see, depending on what the new edicts about what they're allowed to do, because they had to scale back once Bob Iger came back. So
they did, but I feel like, as far as I can understand, this is a character that can be brought into like team up type situations.
Yeah.
So like any kind of team up movie would be really cool. I think that these characters really spoke to people. I mean, and so so many times, and I know that we, like, all three of us know this is true. So many people said this was the best thing Marvel had done since the end of the Infinity Saga.
Right. Yeah.
Like 1000%. They hit this out of the park, and I think everything about it was so great. The aesthetics, the singular vision of the director, the music, the characters, and how we all approached them and fell in love with them, like 100%. I think it's definitely characters that people would want to see again.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, not just him, but also
Elsa.
Laura Donnelly, who played Elsa. Yeah, I would love to see her again.
And your favorite. Come
Ted.
on, who's your favorite? Ted.
I love Ted. I'm his biggest fan.
Yes, the giant-sized man thing himself.
This movie is a triumph, like, genuinely. I think it's so good. It's so creative. It's so much fun, and it feels like a passion project. It's like not formulaic in any way. Like, they really went outside of the box for this one, and like took from different influences, and like were inspired by different eras and created something new for the MCU, and I think that's awesome.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I did want to go back real quick, going back to the beginning of the episode, because like I said, Michael Giacchino does the Marvel Studios music, but he changed it up for this one, which was great. Like, so not only because he's the director in this, he gets to mess around with that music, and I'm glad they let him do that. And so he kind of puts a horror spin on it, and it was a lot of fun to get a new bit of music in there from Marvel Studios, and hopefully they'll get to mess around with that a little bit more in the future. Kind of reminded me of how 20th Century Fox used to do that once in a while with theirs, and even Universal does it with their opening stuff. They'll kind of tweak it depending on the film or the
Yep.
filmmaker and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that Marvel Studios will, play around with that from time to time.
Yeah. Make it
It was
scary for this.
Yeah. Yeah, just have fun with it. That's all I want. Just have fun with it.
Well, they do. I mean, they change not always the music, but they do change it. Like on
They
Loki,
change the visuals.
yeah. On Loki, they'll make it like the green and the gold, like
Right.
But it was really cool that they allowed him to really change the music and have the werewolf scratches and the screams on the track and like all that stuff is so fun.
Yeah.
You knew from the very beginning, like this is going to be great.
Right. No, this movie is, or this show, whatever this episode is a definitely a love letter to that horror era and to just having fun. Like that's for me, that's what made it even more fun, was just you could tell that they were having a lot of fun with it. They weren't taking itself seriously either. And that's there was a lot of humor in it as well. That they understood what they were doing in terms of tone. They weren't making it, because it wasn't super scary at all in any way. Well,
nope.
So because we know, Violet, you're not a lover of horror movies, so
nope.
Nope. So if you can handle this perfectly fine, then we know it's not scary at all.
If I can do this and love it, anybody can watch it. It's a big joke around here that I am never on the creepy side. I am always on the geeky side because I cannot handle that, except for the vampires. That's when I show up.
I know what you are.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, no. So it's that's what makes it fun. Is this is like it's and it's not that there's not some like tense moments or even some spooky moments in this show, but it's definitely not super scary. I mean, you got to think back, you look at the Universal horror movies and stuff like that. They're not really scary these days. Maybe for 30s audiences they were, but for today's audiences, they're not scary at all. And so that's kind of where this plays in. Like, it might be scary for maybe little kids, but beyond that, it's not going to be very scary.
Right.
So, but that's fine though, because I don't think they're going for super scary. They're going for tone more than anything else. And I think they succeed very well. And it sets it up quite nicely, because in the beginning we have this voice narration talking about how there's things that live in the dark, and there are these people, these hunters and stuff like that, who are and they kind of tell the story about Ulysses Bloodstone, who's just died, and everybody's here for this funeral so that they could get this bloodstone from passed to them now. And so it's a fun little setup, and you get brought into this room where there's all these trophies and like mounted busts of creatures that have been killed, and then you meet the other hunters and stuff, and this is where we meet Jack Russell's, and
yes, what an entrance.
Yes, yeah.
What a name.
What a name.
Oh my god. Yeah. So it's funny too, because they could have gone, there's a different Werewolf by Night, and I think that Werewolf by Night came out maybe I'm not sure exactly the timing and stuff like that, but there is a different name. So it's funny though too, because Jack Russell is such a white person's name, and so getting somebody like Gael to play him just was kind of like, all right, we could have changed it up a little bit. But I mean, to be fair, the character's name, I believe Jack Russell's name, the character's, it's not Russell, it's like Russovich or something. That's just the Americanized version of the name that his family took. So there's some European in there, and so maybe that's kind of what they were going for, I guess. I don't know. So
but he has the Mexican,
the Calavera like makeup.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like they 100% played up to his own heritage,
right into his
and
heritage,
made it,
which was great.
Perfect.
Like that's what was fantastic about it for me. Like, despite the name, being silly, and I don't even think they really mention his name at all. Like, other than just Jack, they never say Jack Russell.
True.
I think so. Yeah, I think
I think they just couldn't get rid of the pun.
Yeah.
No. Oh, I know.
Yeah. Yeah. You know,
And I
it
think,
just
like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think on 616, when you and Hugh and Ashley talked about this, the original comic book, they didn't know it was a dog breed.
yeah.
Like, that's a
Yeah.
complete coincidence.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
named him Jack Russell, and
Yeah.
I was like, that's a dog, right? Like, it's, how do you get rid of that joke? It's such a good joke.
It's just too funny.
You turned to me and you said, "Isn't his name Jack Russell?" And I was like,
I did.
Yep. It's so good.
Yeah. So yeah, that being said, yeah, if you want to hear my thoughts about this show previously and closer to when it originally came out, go check me out on podcast 616 with Ashley Thomas and Hugh McStay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's apparently grants its holder longevity and power and lots of neat little side effects. And so this is a little bit similar to what happens in the comic books. Ulysses Bloodstone is a monster hunter in the comic books and is also very long lived because the stone, he had the stone. Now in the comic books, it was embedded into his chest. It wasn't actually just separate. It was just like actually a part of him. And once he died, I believe that it like I guess it got separated or something. I know in the comic books, Elsa now has a piece of it that she wears like on a choker on her neck, and so that gives her the powers without being directly embedded into her.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So it's definitely an interesting setup. He's I do like the part where they're all in there. The hunters are all in there. They're getting ready to. They're learning about what the whole thing is. This hunt is about, and everything. And Elsa's already shown up, despite her stepmother's hatred towards her. They're all sitting there, and they reanimate Ulysses to tell them what's happening. I love that part. That is the most bizarre part ever. It's so
cool.
Fun. Yeah, it's so much fun.
It's like one of the animatronics from Pirates of the Caribbean shows up inside. Yes, shows up in this coffin.
Yeah,
it's great.
The butler is like cranking it to get it to work and to keep it going. It's so funny. And then
I'll be rotting for
you. And it's such a silly thing, but I love when she walks behind it and you see that it says "This End Up" with the arrow on the back of the coffin. See that. Like every single time I watch it, I don't know why that's so funny, but that's like "This End Up" with the arrow. Like, don't put the coffin upside down. It's just such an eye for detail in these really quirky, funny moments. I love it.
Yeah. No, and that's what makes it a lot of fun too, is just like, not only is it because it's the MCU and the MCU does weird little funny things like that, but it also shows an attention to detail on the parts of the director and everybody else to really include that, because it's obviously just a sight gag, and it's not like, and it's not even I have never noticed that. So it's not a sight gag that everybody's going to catch either. So
it's like a little Easter
it's like a little Easter egg
there.
Yeah. So that's what's fun about it. So.
Shout out to the every aspect of the design in this: the creature design, the production design, the costume design, the practical effects, everything.
Yeah,
everybody who was working on this was like at the top of their game.
Right. And I really do think you guys should check it out in the color, just to see the colors and stuff like that. Like in black and white's great and everything, but to watch it with the colors and to watch how those colors are in the show it's really fun.
We should.
Yeah.
We'll do it. We'll try it.
I should have mentioned that before, but watch it.
Watch both versions and then compare and contrast.
Right. So
yes, but even in black and white and color, you didn't notice that side gag. So
no, exactly. Yeah. Now I think especially with the color, because now I've got too much to look at.
Now that's like everywhere.
Yeah,
Ooh.
but yes. But yeah, why don't you guys kind of give me some thoughts on, things you liked, or didn't like about this. Why don't you go ahead and start, Daisy?
Yeah.
Oh, me? Oh
Yes.
boy. Okay. All right.
Put you on the
Also some of
spot
your
there.
notes. Yep.
Okay. I'll hit you with my notes. Let's see. I like how from like the word go, you can really tell that Jack is like different from everyone else. And he
Yeah.
seems like very uncomfortable with the situation.
Right.
Yeah, he's like they're talking about like all the monsters they've killed, and he's like, uh-huh. Like, and like like it's not hard to piece together that he's probably like either in league with the monsters or one of them,
Yeah.
but it's still like there's still kind of like an air of mystery, like, oh, we don't know what's gonna happen. Like, and I don't think you need to have that hidden from you. It's just kind of fun to watch like the dynamics between all of them and just to immediately connect with him and be like, okay, like we're going to be following this person and he's clearly like kind of out of his depth here.
Right.
And it's just kind of fun to watch that. Um, Obviously, Ted is my favorite. I love him. He's great. He's just such a small part of this, but I just think he's so much fun. I like that he loves sushi. Like there's just like little character traits that really humanize him.
Right.
And you can really tell that like the monsters are really just victims of like a hateful society and are
To
not
an extent,
innate
yeah.
to an extent. And
Yeah.
some of them, maybe like a lot of them, are not innately evil and don't really want to hurt people,
Right.
but they just are either forced to by some means like the werewolves or like have to defend themselves like Ted.
Right.
And I think that's fun to see like who's really the monsters here.
Yeah. No,
Mhm.
exactly. Now, I do want to go back to what you're saying, like whenever he comes in and he's uncomfortable and stuff like that. And you can, I do agree with that, but also at the same time, like there are times where, like in my own life, where like I may be qualified or something like that at something, but I'm always uncomfortable around people for the same kind of weird reasons. Like, and I think in his case, like where I took it, like not so much as like he's in league with the monsters or that he was a monster himself, even though knowing that, that he is a werewolf, that
Mhm.
I took it more as it's where those kinds of hunters and stuff like that, they're so proud to be hunters and they like do everything. Whereas he's more like a more strictly down to business. He kills because he has to, not because he wants to.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's kind of how I took it. And I not dismissing your thing either, because I like the way you were thinking about that too. So,
Mhm.
but that's how I took it, was just more of like yeah, I have to kill people, but it's not because I want to, it's
Right.
just,
I mean,
and
both of
that's
those
what,
can be true.
yeah, no, exactly. And I think that's what's interesting too, because he remarks about it. The one guy is like, are any of these, have you killed any of these were mounted on the wall? And he's all like, no, but I fought that guy a lot. And
Yeah.
so he's never looked more alive.
Yes.
And that was just great. That was just a great sequence, because it's just like, yeah, he's, and you find out later too, like that he's had the most kills of anybody in there,
Yeah.
and
We were
so
talking about that.
We were.
She asked me, do you think that he said over 100? And like, does he mean he killed over 100 monsters, or is he like including people or other things that he had to do when he was a werewolf?
right,
And my feeling on it is that he's probably telling the truth about the number because it's easier to remember that than a lie.
yeah,
But
Mm.
like, I'm sure it was not 100 monsters. He's probably
No,
unfortunately
definitely
including,
not.
yeah,
yeah,
he's including unfortunately humans that
right,
when he wasn't in his right mind, things
right,
happened with.
before he put
Yeah.
his systems in place that he
Mhm.
mentions later.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I do think that he has fought several monsters as well,
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
as being a part of that world. Obviously, if he says he's fought that guy,
Yeah.
that one creature several times, then it may be that he has put himself in the position that, rather than being potentially around humans and stuff like that, he puts himself in position that when he is going to transform around the full moon, that he puts himself where those monsters are at so that he can take them on. So that was another aspect of it that I thought about, because I was just like, well, that could be what he's doing, and that could make him the biggest hunter of them all, so he could very well have killed over 100 monsters at that point as well. So because he's just taking out the ones who are actually bad, so
everyone else is sitting there like 26, 33, and
I know, they're
over
all
100, and they're all like,
one guy's like 57, heck yeah, and then they're all like over 100, and they're like, what?
Because like I feel like that would be a weird thing to lie about, especially to go for such a high number to like differentiate yourself from the group.
And I'm sure there's got to be some like, and this is why I'm not sure that it's people, because I would assume that if Verussa herself is going to verify that he's killed over 100 creatures or whatever like that, that there's some way to verify that is actually what he's been doing, is killing creatures, monstrous creatures, and not humans. So it could,
he has a medallion.
Exactly,
he has a medallion, so he's definitely worked for the hunters in some way.
So I think that's quite possibly what he does, is just puts himself in that position so that he can kill those creatures rather than killing humans, and in that way he's protecting humans as well, so it puts him in a better position, regardless of what he can. It's interesting, the character too, like, because the character starts off where of course he's uncontrollable, he has to change on those full moons and stuff, but later on down the road he can control his transformations and can change back and forth at will anytime, day or night. Now during the full moon I think it's a little less controlled, but the other times he can control everything and has his human intellect and everything as well, so cool. So that'd be a fun thing to kind of get into later on, possibly as well. So because I like, that's the thing, that as much as I always like the uncontrollable nature of werewolves and stuff like that too, I think it's a lot of fun when they can control it and they can have more fun with it. So but
target it.
Yeah, exactly. And also, Daisy, to your love of Ted, yes, he, otherwise known as the Man Thing, that's how he's more commonly referred to. He's a lot of fun. It's interesting too, because a lot of people equate him with DC Comics Swamp Thing.
Yes,
and they're very similar in a lot of ways. They're vegetation monsters. But the Man Thing, he's a very interesting character because he's the guardian of the crossroads. He basically lives in like the Florida swamps, and is like the guardian of a doorway to parallel universes. So which kind of really plays into this the multiverse saga that's going on currently in the MCU. So they didn't mention it at all. So right. I'm hoping that we'll get some of that maybe in a future, maybe even in a Man Thing special on its own, which would be a lot of fun.
That'd be great.
Yeah, just as long as they call it the Giant Size Man Thing. So. which is literally what they called the comic books at one point.
The giant-sized Man Thing.
Yeah. So if you're searching out some comic books, you can make sure you get your hands on a giant-sized Man Thing.
Oh, good God!
Oh my God! No.
Oh boy!
And that's your inappropriate joke for the day, folks.
I did have a thought this time that I don't think I've ever had before, of like, as cool as this all is, getting all the hunters together and this whole let's get the bloodstone and then that hunter will get the bloodstone. Like, it does seem like a really big waste to have them fighting and killing each other. Like, doesn't that
Right?
kind of like
it whittles down the best. If these are the best hunters,
these are the
and
best
then
hunters?
you're whittling them down to one single hunter who's gonna get it all.
Like,
Yeah.
so aren't you weakening your position slightly against all the rest
Right.
of the monsters? This doesn't seem like that good of an idea.
Right.
Like, how many hunters are there? Like,
I have no idea. But
if there aren't that
But these are
many,
the
then this is
best.
a
That's
terrible idea. Like,
well,
Yeah.
and that's what's weird. That's what's weird is these are the best, and the one with the one guy's got over 100, but the one with the worst amount is like 20 something.
22. Yeah.
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 So you're just like,
Oh.
that's one of the best hunters. Like,
Like, wouldn't like a flag football situation have been a little bit better than killing off all of the people you have in your like monster killing army? But hey, maybe I'm just putting too much logic on the really cool thing where we're all gonna fight to the death in a labyrinth with a guy with a tuba that's on fire. Like, let's just play.
I love the fire tuba. That's awesome.
I'm like, let's just go with all the coolness and forget about all of the logic I'm trying to throw on it. But it does.
They were going
seem
for a lot of
silly.
aesthetic.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
it's all aesthetic, all vibes. Dead hunters. Let's go.
The drama of it all.
And don't get me wrong, I
drama.
get and I get it though too, because that's what because they you get all these hunters together, they're all going to compete. They're probably going to try to kill each other. So It's just like you might as well make it an official part of it. Sure, you guys can kill each other if you need to.
You'll all be honored in the regular way. Like, she's just kind of like, you're all gonna die.
Yeah.
We'll honor you. Someone will get the bloodstone.
Yeah.
And they're annoyed that Elsa's there.
Yeah.
That, she hasn't apparently done enough work to have the honor of killing them.
And Elsa could care less, which is great.
She is so checked out.
Yeah. She's like, I don't care. I'm getting it.
I'm getting it. I'm gonna kill all of you. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But she
I love her.
Yeah, as badass as she is, she gets her ass handed to her a couple of times too. Like,
the big Scottish guy like slams her head.
Always causing problems, that man.
So every time he popped up, she's like, "Oh my god, this guy again."
That's too funny. Yeah, no. But it's so funny too because like Elsa does the whole like flip around, like grab him by the legs, flip around like Black Widow thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is like? Don't get me wrong, it's a great move, but it's like, why does it feels like that's like the one go-to for any woman fighter in the MCU.
Yes.
So it's like the leg lock flip around
to
the ground thing.
They teach you that on your first day of MCU orientation.
Right.
It's like, if you are a female identifying hero, please go into this room. We will be teaching you the leg flip around move. You will be required to use this in all of your fight choreography. And the landing in a pose move, Yep. That's
that Yelena
you have to learn all
like.
of this. Oh man. Yep. Oh, that's what we need. If we had a YouTube channel, like, let's do this on your YouTube channel. We'll just do like a joke movie of teaching the MCU women how to do these moves. Like, you're required to do all of these things. Oh man,
too funny. But yeah,
someone probably has.
But she but she's like, it's interesting, like, because it's not really like, because she does okay. Like, don't get me wrong, she takes out the one guy with the wrists, the wrist, what is it called, crossbow.
Yep.
And then she takes him out, and the other two guys manage to survive up until the end.
Yes.
But that's when she becomes the most badass though too, like, because she takes out both those other hunters. So she does hold her own. It's just the Scottish guy she can't take on very well. So
that was crazy.
She does take him down with the leg lock thing. I'll give her that. So
yes, she does, and then she's able to just like, swoop, I'm out.
Yeah. So, but I like that when her and Jack meet up. They're just like, Jack's like, yeah, let's just go our own ways. I don't want to fight you. She's like, what?
Look, he just wants to get in and get out. Like,
Yeah.
he's like,
Well,
least
like he tells her,
possible.
yeah, and like he tells her later, he's like, look, I'm only here for one thing, and it's not the stone. So, you can have the stone. You help me get this stuff, and then we'll just, pass like ships in the night.
Exactly.
Just trying to save his buddy.
Yep.
He just wants to save Ted. Oh, poor Ted.
Well, and it's a great sequence too, because his he's sitting there trying to take a break against this wall of this hedge wall, and that's when Ted's hand comes through and grabs him, and it's definitely a moment where you're just like, oh crap, here it comes, and then he just laughs, and you're just like, wait a minute,
what? Oh,
so,
on a first time watch, that's hysterical. It really they really get you so many times with the you think this is going to happen, but no, that's not where this is going.
And they really amp up the suspense before you meet Ted. So when that hand comes out, it's like, oh my God. But then it's like, oh, he's just like a gentle giant. They're just chatting. They're catching up. Like, it's just so cute.
Yeah, it's definitely a great sequence because then they talk, like you said, they talk and they're just chatting, and he's like, okay, yeah, let's we'll try to get you out of here. I've got this explosive thing. I'll blow up a wall
God.
and I'll blow up a...
I didn't read the manual on this, but I have this thing.
It's so funny too, because you would think as a hunter you'd already be like you'd know the tools of your trade and stuff. But again, because he's not a traditional, because he's not a traditional hunter, he's not used to the tech side of things, I guess.
No.
I get it. That would be me. I'd be like, I don't know. I'm just gonna throw it and we'll see what happens.
Well, and that's the funniest bit too, because he gets trapped in a mausoleum with Elsa at one point, and once they break free, and then that's when they come to their agreement that they're going to work together. She's going to get the stone. He's going to get his friend out. And she's like, that's fine. She's like, I just want the stone. And that's the interesting thing too, is like she doesn't seem to be that overly concerned with monster hunting as well.
Right.
So
she
which is good.
Wants her legacy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, she just wants her legacy.
And so so she so they managed to get out of the mausoleum, and he's like, hey, but can you show me how to turn on this explosive device? And as he's asking her, he turns it on himself. He clicks it, and he's like, "Oh crap!" And then they both start running opposite of each other, because she's got to go get the whatever, I don't even know. Like, he's got to go blow up the wall, and she's got to go lead the monster. She's going to go get Ted to bring him to the wall. And so and he's like, it's so funny too, because he tells her just say his name. He'll understand. And she's like, well, what's his name? And he's like, Ted. And she's like, Ted?
Yes.
So, and then that's when she does run into him as well. And then he's like, ah, and she's like, Ted? And then he's like, oh? So it's like,
because he's just immediately disintegrated.
He immediately
disintegrated the big Scottish guy.
Dude, yeah.
Yes.
And that's a great sequence too. Because the Scottish guy comes up on him, tries to take him out, and he just grabs him on the head and just like fries him. Now that is something that's in the comic books.
Okay.
There is a that it's the whole like saying about him is that he who knows fear burns at the touch of man thing.
Oh.
And so so that's literally what it is that if you have fear, then when he touches you, you will burn. Like if you didn't have fear from him, then you would not burn. So
okay.
So that's literally what's happening there. So and what happens again later. But he he fries the Scottish dude.
He fries him,
which is great.
R.I.P. Rest in pieces.
Rest in pieces, yeah. But and then that's when she runs up and sees that happen, and she's like, Ted. And
Ted,
he immediately
you have a lovely name.
yeah, Ted, you have a lovely name. So yeah, and then she tries to get him to follow her.
Yep.
And then meanwhile, Jack has tried to throw the what's supposed to stick to the wall, and does for like a second before it falls off and drops near him, and he's got to keep trying. It's and that's what's fun about this show is just it's so funny in so many ways. It's so silly and fun. How can you not have fun with this?
It's a blast. Pun intended. So yeah, it was just great because like at that time, like Ted is following Elsa, they're running, and he just can't get this thing in the right spot.
Yeah.
It's
so stressful.
Yeah.
And it's beating faster and faster.
Faster, yes.
Yeah.
And then they do it, and she's able to get the stone off him, and the look on his face when he's like, I have my power back, and he runs off, and you're just like, yay,
he
Ted.
The wall blows up, and he's just like, I'm out, see ya,
bye.
Yeah.
Bye, Ted.
And then this was another thing we talked about on the watch. Jack must have had no idea that would happen if he touched the bloodstone.
Yeah.
Right? Because why else would he touch it?
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't make sense otherwise. Like,
well,
he
and
must have just been like, oh, I'll pick it up.
Well, and that's what's interesting though too, because he knew that it did weaken a monster if it was attached them or anything like that. So I think it was also a momentary, just like he forgets he's a monster thing,
right?
Because he's not always the monster. He's only the monster, 3 days out of the month. So during the course of the full moon, and so there's no real reason why he would suspect that, because or at least it would just slip his mind in that moment because he's just like, oh yeah, let me grab this pot.
Like the adrenaline of the escape, and like he just figured he was going to pick it up and hand it to her, and then no.
He's coming down from almost blowing himself up several times.
This comedy of errors.
I will say Ted is one of my favorite characters, but there is a special place in my heart for Jack. I think he's a great protagonist. He's so funny, and he has such a good heart. And I love werewolves. They're one of my favorite, like, just general monsters. I love the tragedy of it. I love the duality of it. And I think he's a really well done werewolf because he clearly is like he is human. Right. And he does not want to hurt people, and he has a way for him to not do that. And that scene when they're in the cage and you can just see the fear on his face as he realizes what's about to happen, like, it's so well done.
Well, and what's interesting though too is like at first he's like, well, this we don't have to worry about anything. It's 5 more nights until the full moon. Like, we'll get out of here before then. There's no way they can do anything. And then that's when Elsa's like, yeah, but she can use the bloodstone to force your transformation. And then he's like, oh, okay. Now what do I do? And so then, before that happens though, he, like you said, he's got that in place. He's got a potential way to hopefully not hurt her. And so he starts like smelling her.
He's scenting her.
Yeah, which is, exactly. Which, you understand, but also like, she's like, what are you doing? This is creepy. It's gross.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Don't break eye contact, but he's so, I have to remember you. I mean, like, she gets on board when she figures out what he's doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Because obviously it's for her own benefit as well. But I love that. I love, like, we jumped right past it, and I know we both love this. I love all of his. I know exactly
what you're about to say.
I know what you're gonna say. Yes, exactly. But all of his little dog-like mannerisms are where he's like, so cute. Yes, he's always like scratching at his hair like a dog. And in the mausoleum, when he turns around a couple of times before he sits down,
I didn't notice that.
No, I got that on first viewing. I'm like,
every single time we watch,
every time, look at him. He's so cute. Before he sits down next to her in the mausoleum, he turns around in a circle a couple times, and then he sits down.
That's so funny. I never caught that.
Oh, they make him like when he's
Jack Russell, the man that you are.
Yes. When he's in his human form, he has all of these like cute dog mannerisms, and then you see him transform into this terrifying werewolf. but it's like always
The
in
werewolf
there.
is so cool, though. The practical effects are so good.
Right.
Oh,
I would
I
have
know.
like I like that they kind of, they don't show you the transformation, but at the same time, I'm disappointed because I do like a good werewolf transformation.
oh,
Because I'm with you. Werewolves are hands down my favorite, like, supernatural monster.
Yay.
And it's so, this being able to watch this was a lot of fun. And I like that they went, like, thankfully, the character himself is humanoid wolf. And like they went more for the old school Wolfman look, more than what even he looks like. In the comic books, he's got a wolf face.
Oh,
yeah. So it's
cool.
not
Okay.
it's not humanoid. Well,
okay.
so I think there's variations on him. Like, there were see, now I've got to look it up because I know that I think that his original version of him is more Wolfmanish. Yeah, it's more Wolfmanish. But later on he becomes, there's times where he's got that, like in the 80s when I first encountered him, he had more of the, like, the actual wolf face going on. So but that had been several years past when, and again, artistic license, they change things up depending on the artist and stuff.
Right.
So but yeah, so but I did like it. I love, especially being the old school, like what they were going for with the universal horror and stuff.
Yes.
It works very well in that, with that look. But again, yeah, I would have loved to have seen a werewolf transformation, but I like what they did. Yeah, but I like what they did where, you're watching Elsa as she's watching, horrified as he's transforming.
The shadows.
Yeah.
The shadows are so cool.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh.
And the sound effects are great in this movie.
Oh, all that, it's so good. And all
everything.
the fog and the electric things, and then when you realize he's gotten out of the top of the thing and you can't see him, and then all of a sudden, like right before he jumps, you realize where he is, like all of that.
Because you're as the person watching, you're like, where is he?
Where is he? Yeah.
And then while they're looking, you're just like, and then he leaps out. So,
yeah.
We were talking about this before when, my brother came downstairs and he was like, why is there so much electricity? And I was like, well, it's probably a reference to Frankenstein.
To a degree, yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
It's the aesthetics of that.
The aesthetics of that time period and stuff like that.
James Whale directed Frankenstein.
I think and that's the thing too, is like he's paying a lot of homages to that universal horror era. And James Whale was definitely one of those architects of that whole sensibility at that time. So that makes a lot of sense as to what they're going for in this show as well. So but no, it all works really well. But
the fight choreography in this last scene is out of control.
Oh, and it's brutal too. It's so brutal. Like some of these people like get hurt bad. And then like Elsa gets out, and like I said earlier, she takes on the other two hunters and manages to dispatch them easily.
Yes.
So
her adrenaline was off the charts at that point too.
Yeah.
Like I think the two of them were just like
yeah. So and then and we haven't talked about her barely at all, but Verussa, the stepmother. Oh man. Harriet Sampson, what's her name? Harriet Sampson something. I think it's Harris, actually.
I think it is. I got it open too. Yep, Harris. Harriet
Sampson Harris. She is fantastic in this. She is so like, she is so good. You just hate her immediately.
Yes.
But she's so good. She's so over the top, and I love it. She plays that really good hammy over the top villain so well. And it's just every part of her just you have to hate her.
This performance was so committed. She was committed to it.
And she's so good at it. She's just so good at it. Like, and I know I've seen her in other stuff before. But you know, this role was just like perfect for her. And she's so funny too, because you know, in the beginning when she's talking about um Ulysses and stuff, and about how good a person, like, and a hunter he was, and she goes, and a lover, and then just like and Elsa's just like, oh, so gross. And it's so funny. It's just, that's the commitment that I'm talking about. She just like, she does it so well. She just plays this horrible woman in all ways. And you know, it just, yeah, it's over the top, the best way over the top. So
yes. Well, this was when they come in the crazy hooded robes, and she's starting this ceremony to transform him. This is when you turned to me and you said, the hunters are the real villains.
I think I said, this is some Death Eater bullshit.
Yes, you did. Yeah. Yes.
That's too funny. Yeah, no, the masks do look very Death Eater. So,
yeah, all that is crazy. They all get what they deserve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What other notes do you guys have? Because I know you guys got notes.
Actually, like, we've hit on pretty much.
Have we? Okay.
Yeah, I said I didn't take that many notes. I only have just one of the last things I have written down is like, in that crazy fight scene, in the grand tradition of hallway fight scenes in the MCU.
Yeah.
Like, he is taking out everybody, and then the blood splashes on the camera lens. I love that. Yeah. I love it. I love it. I love it. I know you have a lot more notes probably.
Daisy, do you have any more notes?
Let's see. I wrote down, must be the worst hangover. When he wakes up.
Oh yeah.
That must suck.
Well, let's jump back real quick, because we're talking about the hallway scene.
About the scene after the hallway scene. Yeah. My favorite part.
So she gets she's Verussa is using the bloodstone to incapacitate Jack after that hallway fight scene.
Yeah.
She's just like laying into him, throwing him up against the wall. And Elsa uses that claw chain thing and brings her to the floor hard. And knocks the bloodstone out of her hand. And she's about to fight her, and that's when Ted busts through the ceiling and grabs Verussa on both sides of her and just obliterates her with his fire touch. Yeah, it's like the best. And then throws her against the wall.
Yes.
Oh my god. It is just the most brutal, funniest thing ever.
Yeah. Look, he's mad. Go Ted. He is mad. She put him in a really bad position. She got what she deserved.
Yeah.
Before that is when we realized that the scenting worked.
So. Yes. Yeah. That's true.
That's a really good scene.
That's such a good scene.
Well, no, but that actually happens.
No, he's gone. Jack's gone already. Yeah.
No. The Ted leaves and Jack is still, remember, because Jack is there recovering still, and she goes over, grabs the bloodstone now, puts it in her pocket.
I thought Jack was gone already before Ted comes in, right?
Because she tells Ted
you know what? You're right. I forgot about that. See? I got it mixed up. You're right.
I'm like, listen. That scene,
she's just giggling.
Absolutely, I know. That scene kills me because I love how it's filmed, where you can see that they're looking in each other's eyes, and you can see when he does, like, I recognize you.
Right.
You're not someone I can kill. And it just is, it's so, and he's out. He's like,
yeah.
He's got a hangover.
Great. Yeah.
The worst hangover.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you think, because that's why it's so crazy, because then she stands back up and it's like, bitch, why are you still talking? Enough already. And then Ted jumps in and it's like, thank you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I support Ted's rights and Ted's wrong.
Absolutely. This is a support Ted household.
Right. But yeah, no, it's great. And then she goes like and sits down. She's got the bloodstone. She's like, I'm taking a freaking break now.
Yeah.
And that's when in the black and white version, it's really great because it starts playing over the rainbow.
Yes, and it turns to color.
And it turns to color. So
Oh.
now in the color version, there's no transition. It doesn't change. But it's still, it's still very effective. And it's just, she's getting a chance to sit down. The butler who was working for Bruce, so it's like,
what can
how
I
can I
do
help
for you?
Like, clean this mess up.
Clean up.
Yeah. It's
Don't
great.
bother
She's
me.
so dismissive. Like, I'm just here for
her.
this. Leave me alone. And then again, that's when we see Jack waking up in this improvised little shelter of logs, and with arguably the worst hangover ever.
Most likely.
Heads there and hands him a cup of coffee.
He's got the
and they
coffee
have this,
for him.
Yeah, and this is great. This is great conversation too, because you're only hearing Jack's responses to Ted. You're not getting any of Ted's, like, they're not even trying to subtitle Ted's words or anything.
Nope.
And so it's really fun because you're just having this fun conversation between a couple of friends.
Yeah. And they're so cute.
And and then by the gist of it, you get that Ted's like, oh, I had to save you this time, and he's like, no, I always have to save you. And he's like, okay, well, I owe you some lunch. How about some sushi?
Yes. And he wants to make sure that Elsa's okay, and Ted tells him that Elsa's okay.
Yeah, Elsa's okay.
See, and
very
then
nice.
I know. Now, in the comics, are they a couple? Jack and Elsa?
No,
really?
No,
God, because they really kind of seeded that here. I thought that that's where this was going to end up going eventually.
No, I don't believe. I could be wrong, but I don't believe Elsa is dating anybody in the
comics
or in the comic books.
I mean, either way, they had like a really good connection in this movie.
Yeah. No, and I think that's the thing. In the comic books, she's kind of a different character. Like, she's much more I don't know. She's a monster hunter already. Let's see. I'm trying to see what this is about. Sorry. I've read various things with her in it. There's a really great like 12-issue series called Next Wave Agents of Hate that she's in. She's one of the team members of that. It's a bizarre, very funny comic book. But she's been in her own show, in her own books as well. It really only just says she's a monster hunter. It doesn't trying to see.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's the way they take it, though. They had like really nice chemistry.
Yeah, and again,
if the characters come back.
And as we know, like, it just there's never anything that whatever happens in the MCU doesn't have to correlate to what happens in the comic books. So there's lots of things where they've taken things and gone in different directions. Case in point, Captain America
of course,
ending up with Peggy Carter and everything is not something that happens in the comic books. He's very much been, Peggy was a very short-lived relationship that he had during World War II, and she died back then as well. He's had a relationship with Sharon for the good last 20 years of the comic books. But yeah, so it's doesn't really say. I was trying to see if there was any kind of relationship kind of thing, but
I can totally see it. Like, I feel like if they do bring these characters back, like, I can see them either like just starting out as being like some kind of team, like working together to do stuff. I can absolutely see.
And even if they don't do and even if they don't do any kind of like, romantic relationship between them, at least a professional relationship.
Absolutely.
Friends being friends,
Yeah.
I would like to see more of more monster stuff happening in the MCU. There's definitely a lot of other angles, a lot of other characters that they could pull in to into this world. So but
And
we'll see.
just in the way this worked with this being like a Halloween spooky season thing where we got it in October, like I can very easily see them doing a continuation or something much in the same way, doing another special presentation in October.
And that's what I'm hoping for, is that they'll do more of these, like they did with this and the Guardians holiday special and stuff like that. I would love for them to do more holiday specials of whatever sort.
It's like when we were kids and
right?
we had all those fun holiday specials. I thought we were gonna get more of them, and then this past Halloween it was like, here's the same thing again but in color. I know you like it, but
I think you'll enjoy it too.
I'm sure I would, but like we could spend a lot of time talking about the MCU.
Yes.
What I'd rather they be doing besides what they're doing.
True. I mean, they still haven't managed to, like, and that's the thing, getting into it a little bit, like I've just recently heard that whoever was writing or they've completely scrapped the current script that they were working on for the Blade movie again. And this is like the third or fourth time. Yeah. And so they're having a big problem with that. And I did read something recently that part of that may be due to Mahershala Ali's involvement in it. I guess he sees the character as being on the same level as Black Panther. And that's how they've been trying to tailor it towards that. But it's not working. And that's because Blade isn't that character. Blade is a very cool character, very good character and everything like that. But he's never been on the same level as Black Panther, even in the comic books. So it'll be interesting to see where they go with it. And, like I would rather they make something good than try to, keep trying to force it into this, if that's what they are trying to do. So it's just, if it's not working, it's not working. So, just, and if they have to go with a different actor, I like Mahershala Ali, but like, it's not, it's Blade's never going to be that big of a character like that,
Right.
Just, I don't know.
When there was nothing else going on, Wesley Snipes could do those movies and it would be a big deal. But now there's just too much happening.
Yeah, exactly. And that's not to say that the audience can't maybe make Blade that big of a character, but you have to put the movie out first to see if it's going to be that level. And, it's just, until you put that movie out, you're never going to know. So, but any other thoughts, Daisy, on anything?
Oh boy.
That we might have missed?
I just wrote down a lot of, Ted, I love you. I'm your biggest fan. Get her ass, Ted. I wrote that down. He's loose in all caps. Just incoherent rambling. So I think I'm done.
Just everything around Ted. I'm sure there's lots of hearts with Ted in the middle,
Get her ass in all
Get
caps.
her ass, Ted.
My favorite. That's fantastic.
Oh, too funny.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's great. I don't know. Like other thoughts. I love this so much.
This is a lot of fun. I think it's definitely worth watching, especially during the spooky season. But really anytime
of year. This is so good, and it really was for MCU fans who were starting to get a little nervous about where things were going. This was like a breath of fresh air. They still got it. There's still room for creativity and good storytelling and great artistic endeavors, and this is like a high point of the post Infinity Saga MCU for sure. Probably the highest. For me anyway.
Yeah, definitely really good. I'm glad to see Michael Giacchino get something like this. I know he's been wanting to direct for a long time. He's been scoring movies quite a while.
Yeah.
But I know he'd been wanting to direct. There's also a short documentary about the behind the scenes of it, and about Michael Giacchino, called Director by Night, that's on Disney Plus also.
Awesome.
So I have yet to watch that. It's been on my
Yeah, I
watch
haven't
list
watched that either.
Yeah. So definitely sounds like it's be a lot of fun. I guess his brother is the one who directed that.
Oh, cute.
Yeah. So, and like, there's apparently like footage from old 8mm movies that they used to make and stuff. So definitely I think this was a big passion project for him, and I'm glad he got to do it. So
definitely. And when this came out, he was very active on Twitter and sharing behind the scenes things and listening to people, and was really, you could just feel his excitement, and that's just awesome. It's so nice that he was able to really make his vision come true.
And that's what
and you can tell.
Yeah.
And that's what I really love about the MCU, that they are really giving people like chances, like smaller directors, these chances to do stuff. Like, we all know that it's still Kevin Feige's vision at the end of the day, but I feel like what he's doing is choosing people that he feels can do this. Like, because in the beginning you got these, everybody that they've gotten, I feel, has been like a good, like, most everybody has been like a smaller director, maybe somebody who's been around for a little bit. But even Jon Favreau, when he did the first Iron Man movie, Jon Favreau was not known for doing action movies. He was known for doing Elf, and and so like they didn't know that he could make a good movie like that. They were just taking a chance on him. And so I think that's what's great, is they take these independent filmmakers and give them these chances, and sometimes they'll go with somebody more established like Sam Raimi, or Kenneth Branagh, who did the first Thor movie. And it's great when they do that, but I feel like it's better when they get the more independent filmmakers. I'm sure, one, it's probably cheaper for them, but two, you get people who have this different mindset. They're coming from a different filmmaking attitude of they're used to making smaller movies, and so they are bringing that sensibility to it in a way that I think helps temper some of that big movie making scope. They can bring the more human stories to these big spectacles, and I think that's what ultimately makes the MCU work. Despite what some people feel about superhero fatigue and everything else, that arguably I think when people look back on it, phase 4 will be one of those phases people are going to look back and go, it really wasn't as bad as we thought it was, and there's a lot of going on here that we just weren't paying attention to the first time through. And I've been arguing that this whole time, because it's you can't, after the super high highs of Endgame, you can't keep that momentum. You need a time to rest and reflect and kind of reorient where you're going from here. Do I think everything worked? No. But I think it worked more often than not. And as anybody who's been listening to my episodes has heard us, including you and I, talking about that, even some of the big missteps have some great things in them. So
I mean, honestly, that's what we talked about on Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
Both of us rewatched that, anticipating it to be as bad as everyone has been saying it is this whole time, and we're pleasantly surprised that there's more to like in it than not.
Right. Yeah. So, but we were also realistic, because you and I both liked it the first time out, that when upon that rewatch, we realized that, yes, it's probably not as great as we thought it was originally, but it's still not as bad as everybody else has been saying this whole time. So I think that's, that's important to do. But like, and that's the thing with Werewolf by Night, it's not the same kind of thing. they were able to, I think, because one, it's like an hour long, and they were able to keep a tighter structure on it. You didn't have a lot of chance to meander in it.
No,
and so
it didn't.
you know,
And it was like a singular vision that
Yeah.
really, you could tell he thought about it for a long time. And all the pieces
Yeah.
were there, and there wasn't like a lot of fluff.
yeah, being able, and being a composer, being able to incorporate the music in as well as he did, he knew, like, he's like, okay, well, this is what I want for the music at this point. It's a different flavor for sure when you have somebody who's directing and composing.
Yes.
So it was a lot more seamless than doing it separately like that. So
I really noticed the music on this rewatch.
Yeah.
I was like, I feel like never to this level was I like, oh my God, like this music is really good.
Yeah.
Like it just tied the whole thing together. And I know
Right.
like he's such a legendary composer. Like he did Up,
Yeah.
and the music for that movie is iconic. So it's
Yeah.
not a surprise that this music was amazing, but I just never really reflected on that before this
Right.
viewing.
Yeah. No, I agree. It works so well, and it's a testament to his own skill, and and to just be able to see him do justice to this and have a lot of fun with it. I'm really hoping he gets more opportunities to direct after this. So
Agreed.
So, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's all I have to say.
Yeah. A high watermark.
Definitely. All right. Well, Daisy, if you want to, I don't know if you have anywhere online you want people to follow you from, but if you do, you can let people know. If not, we can just move on to Violet.
I think I'm okay.
Well, on my Linktree, I have my socials and my email. So if there is anyone out there who wants our sparkling opinions on your podcast, you can contact us there. And my Linktree is linktr.ee/violet.h.310. And on there, you will see links to everything that I have done. And is this coming out this week?
Yes.
Okay, so you're gonna see probably Frame to Frame Movieversaries on the top there, but coming out soon is TARDIS Crew, which was a very exciting 2-hour-long conversation on this current season of Doctor Who, Ncuti Gatwa's first season as the Doctor. You can tell how excited I was about it.
Love Ncuti Gatwa.
We love Ncuti Gatwa. This
We
is a
love
Ncuti Gatwa
Ncuti
house
Gatwa in this household.
So that'll be on there soon. And yes, most of the things, except for your podcast that I do, are on the Film Stories Network.
Right. Yes, I'm the lucky outlier who gets to grab you away from the Film Stories crew.
That is true.
And the only reason why is because you heard me on one of their podcasts.
That is also true. We're both the Film Stories adjacent.
Yes, exactly.
I'm a free agent.
Yes, yeah. As am I.
As are you.
Yep. I am part of the Creepy and Geeky Presents unofficial podcast network.
There you go. You're your own network.
I am my own one network. All right. Well, it was great having you guys on. Violet, as always, always fun to have you on. And Daisy, it was great to have you on for a first time. I hope I can get you on for a future episode as well.
Yay. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, definitely.
Yay. I'm sure I'll be back soon.
Oh, I'm sure. All right. Thanks again to Violet and Daisy for joining me. Next week, Al Davidson joins the show to talk about It Follows and Smile. Thanks for listening. If you like what you've heard, please consider giving the show 5 stars and a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And share the podcast on social media to help spread the word. Make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app or at creepyandgeeky.com. Music for the podcast is Gratitude, composed by Harper Smith. You can follow the podcast by going to creepyandgeeky.com and clicking on any of the social links. If you'd like to follow me, you can find my links at geekthulu.com. You can support the podcast by ordering teas and more on TeePublic or by donating to the coffee page. All of the links are in the show notes. Finally, don't forget, stay creepy.